calling it the Austin Matthews era, right? It can't really be the core four era, with John Tavares.
Do we have a nickname for what this is now?
I mean, that's the best one I got so far. I mean, it's been a few days, so I haven't really thought of anything.
The Berube Bunch.
No,
No,
that's terrible.
no one like that.
Are you underselling William Nylander in this?
No,
Or
I think the reason
should it be the
call
two-headed monster? Or
we could do that. I'm happy.
It's not good.
Listen, Willie was second in goals last year. I think that there's this is not a. He continues to be sort of the third guy of three. And Marner didn't like.
No, he's number two now.
Well, of those three, though, Marner, Matthews, Nylander, he was the one that, they're going to trade him. They're going to trade him. They're going to trade him. Oh, he's this, he's this, he's this. And he's just blossomed into this fantastic player who's nobody complained about either contract.
He's weirdly gotten better pretty much every season.
Every year. Every year.
Which is, there's something to steady improvement, right?
But it seemed to bother people in the Marner camp, and I won't say Mitch, that Austin got the captaincy, got a lot of the glory, got a lot of the credit, whatever. Willie, it's never bothered him at all. He doesn't care. And
I don't know if anything's ever bothered him.
Yeah, so I
like anything ever.
There are some guys where this media market, maybe it's not for you. Willie seems like this is the perfect place for him because I see him walking around Yorkville with his two dogs off leash. They're really, really well trained all the time. And he just kind of goes about his business. He lives in the city. He doesn't really get bothered. And he goes to his condo and that's it. And like that. And then he goes and he scores a bunch of goals.
I mean, you would have liked him to be a little more bothered in the last 3 or 4 games of the Florida
series. So that part of it, Mitch was the guy getting booed every time he touched the puck. But we did see disappearances. I think Matthews was injured.
There were a couple line changes where I just wanted to reach through the TV at Willie.
So what does this team now need to be? Because I know Matthias Michelli and Nicholas Waugh are through the door here. And, there could be a Jack Roslovich, which we can talk about in a bit. We'll leave that for now. But what at the top of this team, you've got Tavares at $4.39 million. Which is, he's squarely
3.8.
not 3.8.
It's even better.
He's not even in the, at that number, he's not a member of the core anymore. He's guy on the team, but he's not member of the core. This is not a core 4. This is at max a core 2, maybe a core 3 if you want to include Morgan Rielly. I guess Nyes is maybe jumping in. But what is this team now? What is this? Like you sometimes you go through a breakup and you're like, okay, well, like what am I now? That this partnership no longer exists.
Well, I think they got to find it, right?
Over. Yeah.
I mean, they got to, I mean, look, what has dogged them in the playoffs, quite frankly, is they haven't scored enough to win. But
it's crazy, the hockey.
You don't always address that with just superstars. Like, I think that now they're rebalancing the books. I mean, other than calling the core 4 like a really catchy nickname, what it did speak to for a long time, like half the team's salary cap was tied up in 4 players, 4 special players. But still, it didn't leave a lot of money for the other roster spots. And that caused constant challenges. It caused the odd trade out of town. Mm-hmm. It caused, Zach Hyman inexplicably, like a heart and soul guy of the team that left for $5.5 million or something. But probably an amount of money the Leafs could have paid him if they had to prioritize him a little more and made other hard decisions instead. Now they're going to have more flexibility. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not going to sit here and say, I watched Steve's video there. He's got the Leafs lineup all
which is great,
queued up, which is great.
Love a July 8th release.
But I would say, I'm not going to say that lineup necessarily represents what I'm about to say, but it's going to give them a chance in theory to build 3 stronger lines.
What do you think those...
Which is what I think they have to do. They have to be able to score more down the lineup. Okay. And then you need Austin Matthews to have a bounce back season this year, which if he's healthy would be the safe bet. If you look at his 9 seasons, when healthy and playing,
he's great.
He's going to score more than 50 goals. And I don't think as much as obviously him and Mitch Marner had a special connection, I don't think his output is tied just to getting great passes. I think he's someone you count on to produce offense, almost no matter who he's playing with.
It's clear though that the identity, I mean, the goaltending was great last year when they were healthy,
and the defensive play of the team,
awesome,
much better than what it had been the season prior,
and much better talent on the defensive end. Like Brad has come in and rebuilt that defensive.
Just thing. Not a lot of puck movers back there,
right? And so on that point, we'll start there because I think goaltending is safe, right? Everybody's happy with that.
Leave it.
that tandem.
It's safe until we watch game one.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like a guy that can play can't play
Hey,
sometimes.
at least
but,
I knew with Peter Mrazek he wasn't going to play well as soon as he started here.
right. And I'm not chipping away at Wall or Stolars. I'm just saying it's always a little bit of a let's see what we get when we open the box.
What is there to these, there was and again, it's mid-July rumors, so you'll have to forgive the nonsense, but there is a bit of there was some word about the Leafs checking in on a Dougie Hamilton. There was some word about the Leafs checking in on an Erik Karlsson. Is that something you think that they want to do?
Well, this is what Brad Treliving does. He is one of those GMs that wants to he's not relying on hearing what we think of who's available. He's very active in having those kind of discussions. So it doesn't surprise me to hear those.
So he's a call everybody kind of GM?
Yeah. I mean, once upon a time, he basically finished second for Jack Eichel. It's forgotten about, but Calgary was the other alternate option when he ended up going to Vegas. But the Flames were very much in on Jack Eichel at the time. Maybe that's not even the best example because in that case, he was an aggressive bidder in addition to just checking in. But he's very much keep tabs, very good handle on the market. And so it doesn't surprise me to hear that. I don't think we should confuse it with the Leafs are definitely going to go and make that kind of trade either. Because the only way to make that sort of trade, in my view, would be somehow removing Morgan Rielly from the roster.
And that doesn't seem to be something that he or his family want to do.
No, at this point in time, I have no reason to believe he would want to do that.
Right.
I also don't think the Leafs have approached him about it either.
Do you think Berube trusts him?
Some days. I mean, maybe not implicitly. And look I think Morgan would be the first to tell you last year was very up and down for him. He didn't have a great season. So the one season where Craig Berube has been his coach was not his best. And I'm not going a direct line like that's Berube's fault, but I'm saying Berube's operating off what he's seen and he didn't see Morgan's best. And
it got better with Carlo. I think we should say that.
For sure.
The numbers were better. So maybe a full season.
But look is he going to be on the top power play unit next year?
Well, so this is my thing, Siege, and I keep saying this to the guys.
But points matter to someone like Morgan Rielly. Like there's confidence in
but
that.
he doesn't have a shot from the point. He doesn't have a big shot. So
yeah, but
when
we don't see Shea Weber type power play goals.
You do see guys that can fire more than a muffin, though. And this is the problem, is that when Morgan Rielly was on the power play, teams figured out pretty quickly, well, we can leave the point somewhat open because you can cover the other guys off and dive in front of his pucks when they go at the net, right? You can't do that with a guy like Pietrangelo. You can't do that with a guy like Lane Hudson. So if he's going to be the guy, it's got to be more than you can pass, right?
There's different ways to solve an equation. I mean,
that's a Mark Savard problem. I get it.
Yeah, and look, the Leafs power play last year ended up pretty good. Like it started off very rough, but I can't really, you can't find fun. Like that wasn't the reason they didn't get it done in the end. So I do wonder, this is what's funny when Steve said earlier, like they're going to bring back the same 6D. I'm not saying they're not, but I don't know that we can count on that yet because I'm not sure as much as they have definitely improved in that area. I think we wouldn't even debate about that from when Treliving took over to where they are today. And we know that obviously he's someone who's traditionally built a strong defense. He played defense. I think he's got an eye for it and a vision for it. Likes tall guys. I wouldn't. He
likes to be able to look him in the eye.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to find a spot on that blue line for a lot of reasons, but especially with my height.
Jesse could.
Jesse's in there.
I don't have the size, like the other way.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
we got to see a little meanness from Jesse. We want to see some cross.
Get home. You just have to drink some gravy every night before you go to bed and just beef up. I think that's what
I'll give you some tips,
Steve. Who's your prospect story that you love telling? Who just ate candy all the time to beef up?
Oh, wow.
Ate candy all the time.
Yeah, they just ate a bunch of candy and they were trying to beef up in the off season. You tell the story all the time.
Oh. Wasn't that, didn't Johnny Gaudreau used to have Nutella sandwiches?
Yeah.
Well, that, and he loved that his dad, even when he was learning to skate, put Skittles on the ice. And he got to eat Skittles based on doing certain drills and stuff.
No way.
I got to try that.
Was a famous, I think he had a sweet tooth and certainly did not have a refined palate. Like that's what his buddies, they would go to like a sushi restaurant and he would like get a ham and cheese sandwich or something. Like
Wow.
That's
that's where all the tributes came
Yeah.
from the Jackets fans, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
right, because Skittles and purple Gatorade, I think, was his thing, right?
They left that behind at the arena.
But we saw how the defense was going to look. Tough shot blocking, that sort of thing. They also got outplayed a lot, 5-on-5. Not just the defense, the whole team. outshot a lot.
And think about it. You have these forwards, and you still have a pretty talented. Like the top 6 of this team is still good.
Very good.
Like I know they've lost something, but they still have a lot.
And they're also pretty economical now with Tavares. I mean, I don't mind Nyes at the number they got him at. Like
there you go. But you need. How do you distribute the puck to them? Like how do you get them playing where you want them to play and where they can do damage? I'm not sure they have the right mix yet to do that. That being said, it's not to say this trade has to happen this summer either. Like the Karlsson thing, it's a stretch for me.
Feels like it.
He makes $10 million against the cap right now. And I can tell you for certain, Pittsburgh's not just giving him away. They're not of a mind, we got to get him off the team. So...
And they're not retaining half.
They're not going to retain half of that for anybody. And so a team really has to want him. And so, look, Morgan Rielly makes about 7.5. Am I in the ballpark?
7.5.
You nailed it, yeah.
So if you were ever removing Morgan Rielly, maybe I could see the argument to replace him with Karlsson, and maybe you can make the money work with whatever else. But like that's 2 significant trades, 2 guys that have no movement clauses. That's very much sitting around in mid-July like, hey, wouldn't this be kind of cool?
Right.
And I'm not sure how much reality is in there yet. But the one thing I'll say on Karlsson is he's only got 2 years left. And so even if he doesn't get traded this summer, you're going to hear more of this talk because he gets much, much easier to move.
I want to know what you think the Leafs' identity is going to be. I don't think it's sustainable that they walk in every game and get outplayed 5-on-5 the way they did last year. I don't think that is fully sustainable.
Berube hockey?
Is that what he does? Like, so what are these Leafs without Marner, and what is their new direction? What's their North Star? If Brad Treliving were here, what's the goal he has in mind?
I'm sure they want to see better 5-on-5 play or more consistent 5-on-5 play. But I mean, they're still, look at it, as much as a coach has as an identity that they're trying to teach, or a GM has a vision. I mean, at some level, you're dictated by who your actual players are, right? Like the team that Craig Berube coached in St. Louis and coached them all the way to a Stanley Cup final. They didn't have they didn't have an Austin Matthews. They didn't have an individual like you.
They had Curtis Sanford. Or was it
Zach?
Zach Sanford, not Curtis.
Yeah.
No, and they had Ryan O'Reilly, who was awesome and won the Conn Smythe Trophy and is a beast. Still a really good NHL player, but he never had a season where he scored 69 goals. In fact, nobody has that isn't named like Lemieux or the guys, the guy that were in the video games when you were a kid, basically. So the point is I think you have to somewhat adapt to what you have. But what are they going to be? They're going to be aggressive forechecking team. I mean, I think everybody's trying to be something like the Panthers, honestly. Mm-hmm. Now, that's not sustainable. And on some level, I think you have to stick to what you are, too, because if you're trying to imitate, you're not going to...
Yeah, well, look what happened to the Canucks when they tried to become the Bruins after 2011.
Oh, everyone did. No team has been more poorly replicated than the 2011 Bruins.
Yep.
Everyone tried to do it.
Except I would say the Panthers.
We might see it with the Panthers. I'm not saying with Toronto now, but... Everybody's going to try to be the Panthers now.
The Panthers are, I think everyone was just like, let's just get big. And what's weird...
Yeah, no short guys are getting drafted anymore.
No, but I feel like people are taking the wrong lessons from the Panthers. Like, they weren't the biggest team. They were the most violent, definitely, but they weren't the biggest team. And
competitive is what I think of.
Extremely competitive, aggressive. And if you took their speed for granted, you were getting beaten every time. And that's how they beat the Leafs in Game 7, right? It's, you made one mistake. Whoop, here we go the other way, and it's in. And now you're playing from behind, and our defense and goaltending is too good, and you make another mistake, and you make another mistake. It's boa constrictor hockey.
It's such a good point that it wasn't necessarily done with size. It was skill there on their forecheck.
They're not small, but they're not big
But
either.
it wasn't like their ethos is we are just big and that's it. No, we are big most around the lineup, but we also have a relentless play style.
Yeah.
And do you know what a lesson for me from the 2024 to 25 Panthers should be? Like, they made big changes, right? They lost Brandon Montour. They lost OEL, guys that were in their top 4 when they won the Cup.
Lamborghini.
Lamborghini.
But I'm just saying they didn't just bring back the same team. Obviously, they brought back the absolute core players. But there's opportunity and change, right? And I think that's what the Leafs have to look for. I'm not even saying to mimic the Panthers, but there's now different opportunity to spend money elsewhere. And there's a chance to, let's see if Austin Matthews can do more to carry even a line on his own at times. Like maybe...
I think he can do it.
Yeah, well,
I mean, we saw him play.
Sidney Crosby's done it for years, though. Like,
Yeah.
probably the best remembered Crosby line.
Chris Kunitz, baby.
Yeah, and Pascal Dupuis.
Yeah.
And with respect to those guys, two otherwise probably third liners on a lot of teams.
I mean, Kunitz was on the Olympic team because of Crosby. There's no other reason Kunitz is there. And that's okay. That's great. That's your dude, man. And what did they do? They won. And so, like, I think that's the thing with Austin and Mitch. And I want to ask you about the dressing room, CJ, because it seemed like Austin and Mitch had a stranglehold on every coach that came through except for Babs, who wouldn't let them play together. From the time Keefe let them play together, it didn't matter how many offensive coaches, defensive coaches, head coaches changed. They were stapled to each other, with the exception of Sheldon Keefe running Bertuzzi, Domi, Matthews, which looked like a pretty sick line actually going into the playoffs 2 years ago. And we were always...
That's why you're hearing all the Domi talk for the top line.
I think he should
It actually makes some sense.
100%. Go back and look at those highlights. They're actually incredible together.
Well, and Domi is a great playmaker, and
Yes.
Austin Matthews shoots the puck. So just start there, and the fact that you've seen some past, reason to believe in it. I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense.
And you got a bulldozer in Nyes. So I guess my question is, how did that pairing stick together so long? Why did it stick together so long? And then the next follow-up is going to be, before we go a different direction, is what's the Leafs dressing room actually like? Is there a good culture there?
So, two very different questions.
Absolutely.
The reason they played together is because you're trying to get both those guys 20 minutes a game. Like, on some level, like, as much as you're like, oh, it'd be nice, you could just spread all these four guys over 3 lines. Well, there's not enough minutes for the third line, right? I think that's been the problem at times with Nylander, because at times he's been the guy that's got lost in some of those minute shuffles. Now, I think they've addressed that. Obviously, last year, he very famously said he wanted to play more, and Craig Berube played him more. But I think, like, on some level, there's just so many shifts in a game, and they obviously had a ton of success. So there wasn't a lot of reason not to play them together. And I don't know that it was so much like they were going to pout or something. Like, I think that might be an exaggeration of what really went on.
Which is why I asked the question.
They obviously liked playing together, though. But I think the Leafs have when you talk about the dressing room, these guys do want to win. That part I can tell you unequivocally, that it doesn't mean that it doesn't apologize for any of the things that have gone wrong when they haven't won. But I don't think it's a lack. Like, I don't think they give a shit, honestly, about winning another award, about who
A President's
gets the most
Trophy,
points.
yeah.
Like, I think if you had to come up with a compelling reason last season that Marner, you're on this line and it's not with Matthews, and this is why, and it was explained to them, this will give us a better chance to win, I believe they would have bought into it. I really don't think they're long beyond, like, this is like, it's so funny. It's like the life cycle of an athlete. You get in the league, and even when you're as talented as they were, you got to prove yourself, right? And one way you prove yourself is obviously putting up points, but it's winning awards. It's proving you're at a certain level with your peers. But then eventually you realize it's all empty. It's all...
Yeah, I won a Hart Trophy. I've won 2 Rockets.
Yeah,
What
which
now?
are great. And Austin will be proud of those for the rest of his life, and they'll be written on his Hall of Fame plaque one day. Like, they're real achievements that I'm not taking anything away from. But the only thing when you get to this stage of Austin Matthews' career, and this is the same for Connor McDavid, like, we haven't even got into him, but all this guy cares about now is winning the Stanley Cup. Like, quite literally, that is his reason for being as a hockey player. I think it's the exact same for these Leafs players. Like, even John Tavares coming back to Toronto on the contract he did, you mentioned it. I mean, he clearly could have made more money elsewhere. Obviously, he's made a lot of money. But, every time I've made more money than I had in the past, you still want more. Like, there's a human instinct in that. But I'm saying he sacrificed that because he wants to win with this team. And it doesn't guarantee they're going to win. But I don't think there's any issues culturally with the room about it has to be this way or that way. I think these guys are still trying to figure it out.